Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Growth Path. Today I am joined by Dima Melnik. Dima is somebody that has a huge amount of experience in pricing. He's a pricing expert who understands packaging products and services into the correct pricing structures. He's priced over 100 plus companies around the world, spanning 70 industries. Not bad. He's also driven significant revenue growth for clients ranging from enterprise giants like Skoda and Yves Rocher to fast growing startups like Unicorn Rolik Group. Um, I'm delighted to have Dima on today. So welcome, Dima.
Hi, thanks.
Sure. So, Dima, tell me a little bit about what you do right now.
Right now, I help companies with product packaging and pricing because a few years ago I understood that there are so many companies that have really great products, but many of them are underpriced, unfortunately. And I found my vision. I have my dream to help as much companies as possible to get the profit they products really deserve. So I help them to raise prices. I help them to increase perceived value of a product and initially increase profit. So that's what I'm doing. I currently working a lot with tech companies, with software companies, and also I'm an expert with innovation centers. So I'm really in contact with beginning companies, startups in early stages, etc.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay, cool. So, just an interesting thing. You're based in Central Eastern Europe, right? So, you're based in Prague. So, I guess a lot of the companies that you would have worked with, for example, Skoda is one, but that's a giant, right? But let's talk about maybe startups um, one of the things, having worked with a lot of companies from Central Eastern Europe, and also having members of the team from Purple Path that are also based there, I think that they underprice themselves too much in that region. I don't know if that's something that you come across just as well. I don't think they have. I think they need to get a bit more confident in what they have to offer and start upping those prices because most people are so whether it's on a services level or on a product level, my experience is they're going in way too cheap. Would you agree?
I would agree with you, and I've been in many conferences when I was meeting like founders of software companies, and all the time I hear the same strategy. Our great strategy, first of all, we have a freemium option, and second of all, we are cheapest on the market. And only once I met a guy who told, I don't care. I want to be the most expensive. I have the best product. Imagine I've been visiting like many conferences. I've been talking with hundreds of founders, and only once I met a guy who wanted to be the most expensive. It's a real situation. That's why projects I work on have such a big result. Typically, once we increased
Mm.
revenue by 70% in 1 year, once we were able to increase average price per contract by four times in 2 years.
Mm.
It exactly shows the situation that many are underpriced. They're afraid, they're too concentrated on their product and their competitors, and they don't see that competitors could be focused on different customer segments, on their in different growing stage, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
they don't see their customers who can pay much more for their solution. That's why
Yeah,
I tell you that unfortunately many are underpriced, and I want to help them because it's fair. They have great products. It's fair to get higher revenue.
yeah. I mean, ultimately, once you get a business in out of the startup stage, maybe into the scale up stage at least, people aren't buying you because you're cheap. You know, like that's not the reason. Like if it is the reason, then you're doing something wrong. They're not customers for life. This is a concept that is coming more and more across various. We work typically in SaaS and B2B SaaS tech, and customer for life is a real focus now because basically what that is, what you're doing is you're extending the lifetime value of your customer base. And you're not necessarily extending the life of your customer base by being the cheapest offering on the market. Like people, it means if you're being cheap, something is missing at some point in the customer experience or at some point in the customer life cycle.
Yeah, you're 100% right. And many companies in B2B SaaS who already like stable, they have a stable acquisition of customers. Imagine if you are Zoom and COVID started. You don't need to work on pricing and packaging. You have so many new clients, you need just onboard them, and that's it. But when you have a zoom after COVID, let's say a year ago or a couple of years ago, you already don't have such a huge flow of acquisition. You need to work on packaging and pricing. You need somehow increase revenue from your current customer base. And that's exactly the situation when like companies who already have a product on the market for 5-10 years, they have a stable revenue. If they want to find some growth, there is a great opportunity to focus on current product, on current customer base, and find out some opportunities.
I think it's also, when it comes to that, that's a very good point. But when it comes to that, I think a lot of companies, especially in the SaaS space, especially in volume SaaS, because there's two different types of SaaS. You have high volume and you have high ticket. High volume, raising the prices will ultimately, in most cases, lead to a high amount of churn across probably customers that you don't want to work with anyway. But that's always a ballsy move by founders to say, okay, we're increasing the prices by 20%. And with that 20%, we're probably going to outgrow the churn that we're going to see, like over maybe a 2 or 3 month time frame, but it's a risk. And there's very few founders that I've met that are fully committed to taking that risk, right? Especially if they're already with a business that's already got somewhere in the region, I don't know, 5 million ARR or something like that, or 10 million annual recurring, right? But I agree with you. I think that the opportunity for updating and pricing is too great, is too big to ignore, and I think you should weigh that up with the risk. I think my advice normally to founders is, if you're looking at pricing, do incremental shifts over a couple of quarters, right? Or over once, maybe every half year. Every half year, look at an incremental increase. Then what you're going to do is you're going to wean out those sleeping dogs, as we call them. They're the ones that wake up once you change something, right? You're going to churn them anyway. My question to those is like, do you even want them anyway? Do you really want that business? That's bad business. They're going to churn at some point. So,
Hey man, I see that every company, every founder is afraid of price increase. I thought that most people are afraid of spiders or dark or maybe public speaking, but no, this is the main fear. And I have like 3 tips. First of all, it's easy to raise price by 5-10% and churn will be 0. Nothing. It's hard to raise price by 30 or 50%. It's hard, but it's possible when you do a price increase together with product repackaging. You are developing your product for years. You have something great. Maybe you have something new in pipeline. Maybe already you have a huge customer segment that is able to pay more. So when you make this exercise with repackaging, or maybe you create different offers for different customer segments, you can increase immediately price in tens of percentages. So this is the first thing. Try to think about it, recap, rechange of your proposition together with price increase. Second thing, you don't need to increase price immediately for all your customer base. Why? You can increase it for new customers and see what is going on. Immediately you have higher valuation of your company. And second, it's a strategy. Yes, I saw a lot of time price increases for current customer database. Hey guys, in 30 days, we'll increase price by 20% wherever you wanna. That's it. It's a hard message that people don't want to accept. Usually, I work with my customers. I call it a migration strategy, meaning we take the whole portfolio of customers. We try to apply a new pricing, and we see what will be the impact. If for some customers will increase price, like let's say it will be a double, it's impossible. We need to provide them some personal discount, and we prepare the communication. Hey, we improved our product, we made these changes, this is coming, and we are the best on the market in these 3 points. And afterwards, yeah, we'll slightly change the price, but not tomorrow, in 3 months, maybe even in 6 months. Slow down, don't be afraid, everything is good, and we love you, customer. Here is a 20% discount if you buy this package, new package, etc. So when you make this communication and strategy good, you can be sure that even price increase could go smooth.
I mean, everything you've just said there is very much landing into a comms piece as well, right? So how do you communicate and package, right, what you've just what an increase in price is going to be? Which then leads me to the question around, where does pricing live, right? So somebody that's managing pricing within an organization, if they're going to run that the way that you said it, that's a marketing job. That's
Yeah. That's a funny thing because usually in companies there are nobody who is responsible for pricing.
yeah,
If it's a marketing who is responsible for pricing, they're just afraid. Oh my God, I want to work on acquisition. I want to create amazing advertising or work on some different 20 channels to attract customers. Pricing, we have no clue. If you talk with a financial guy, chief financial officer, he has Excel tables. He knows everything about costs, but he has no clue about customer perception. He has no clue what customer really value and capable to pay for. So I saw honestly only once in one company, I saw and know this lady, she has two responsibilities in the company. She's chief marketing officer and chief financial officer. That's why she's capable of driving pricing innovation. Otherwise, it's impossible. That's why you need some external expertise, or that's why it's all needed when you combine marketing, finance, and sales. If you are in high tickets, you need also insight from sales team, get everything together, product team, and prepare packaging. This is crucial. Pricing, it's not about prices. Prices are just numbers. This is a final step. It's a parameter. You can change it. It's not so hard. You just change the number. That's it. But how to prepare the whole message, the whole packaging, this is a story.
okay. So basically, what you're telling me is everybody needs to have a CMFO, is what you're saying, right? So so let's drill into that a little bit because that's an interesting concept, right? So and that's a very unique profile, right, of that lady that you'd mentioned that is operating as a CMO and a CFO. Is she only operating in a CFO capacity for pricing, or is she also managing all other things that a typical CFO would manage?
I would think that even for her, it will be complex to drive pricing. I think this is somehow partially she's capable of doing it, but still, it's better when there is a concrete responsibility for revenue growth and for pricing in the company. But not so many companies have such a role. Even huge international bank companies, financial one institute, even in these companies, quite often, product team is responsible for price
Yeah.
innovation.
Okay. I want to change lanes a little bit here, and I want to focus on some of the fuck ups. I want to know about so because we've all been there, right? We've all had them in our career. How long have you been working in pricing for?
12 or maybe even more years.
Okay, 12 years. So and you've rolled that out across so many different companies. And of course you needed to learn somewhere, right? So I started my career as a seller, but then I was also in email marketing. And I don't know how many times I sent an email out to an entire database that was not ready or whatever, right? There was always a mess up somewhere, right? I still have like PTSD from those times of sending emails because you just need to make sure everything's correct. And I've also been the CMO at the time when I said, okay, we're making a pricing increase. And I've seen churn go bloop, right? So I want to hear about some of the times, no names being named or anything, customers, whatever, but starting out your career, whatever. What are some of the failures that you've seen? And obviously you've learned from them, but
Yeah, yeah. I saw some failures when I came up to analyze the situation in the company, and I saw that they did some mistakes. I saw the company that decided that they need to reduce the price, and they thought that they can attract more customers. So they make a product cheaper. They saw some increase in acquisition, but overall MRR, repeating revenue, was declining. So this was totally unsuccessful step. And also I saw price increases, but wasn't successful because the migration was hard. We just decided to increase price or move customer to a new packaging without realizing that for some customer it was a double price increase or triple price increase. Nobody prepared any strategy. They did just hard migration. So I saw this situation. In my job, I'm lucky that I can test all the things. I start with packaging, which I test with customers in quality test. I verify if they understand, if they can select some package, if they truly understand all the benefits. Today I was talking with customers where I prepare new packaging a year ago. And I was talking with clients who bought this software a year ago, and they still remember why they selected a concrete package. They still remember the benefits. That's why I know, yeah, that job was done perfectly because the packaging is so simple. And that's come to me because my first A/B test was done really 12 years ago. And we created two price offers, like two options, and well, pretty simple. And in option B, we decided let's put extra benefit. Let's put extra benefit. The fifth one, we had four benefits. We decided to add one more, and we thought that it will help us to sell more expensive packages. We made an A/B test, and we saw that first option was performing better. How it was possible? We thought, why? We added even better benefit, and we get a feedback from customers, and we analyze data that the offer B were more complex. It's 20 years ago when I realized first that it's not about how many benefits you have or how strong are they. It's quite often how simple your offer is. And when I analyze SaaS pricing pages, I saw maybe 300 or 400 in the last year because I all the time check what is new, try to find some inspiration. Most of them are over complicated. And I have real tests. The best test to sell SaaS packaging is to try to sell it by phone. Calling to a customer without showing any picture. That's my best verification test to know if it works good, to know if customer understand it or no. So this is already coming from experiences, a lot of tests with customer, A/B testing, etc.
Yeah, I mean, you've got so much experience now at this point that it's like you know exactly what the playbook should be, right? If you need to roll out a pricing change and whatnot. One of the things that I've noticed as well is having come into some not even that early stage, right? But let's say mid-stage companies, they're going towards scale up. They've also they've selected the wrong business model. So what I'm seeing is a lot nowadays. They've started with this PLG approach, this freemium model, and then trying to bring companies through that freemium model and then get them to upgrade to a paid subscription after 2 weeks or whatever it might be. And now what they're actually seeing is a greater need for enterprise. And then they're like, oh shit, we should have like done this from the beginning where we're like, we should have gone sales led. And then they're in this sort of position where they're like, God, like we've got revenue coming on the product led model, but actually what we really require is a sales led model. How the hell do we build this? Well, like, how do we fly the plane and fix the plane at the same time? And this is something that I'm seeing more and more often now, especially because PLG was the hot shit over the past couple of years. Like, investors were pushing it heavily. Anything that was VC backed, PLG all the way. That's the most scalable way of doing things. And then it was like, oh, hold on a sec. We can get more revenue quicker if we just focus on SLG. So actually, no, SLG is the main way to go. Let's go SLG. Like, it's like, and we need to get to the road to profitability quicker. So what's the best way to profitability? Well, the best way to profitability is to bring in more revenue with less output, with less customer acquisition costs, right? So that's how you do it in SLG, right? So to me, it's like that is the number one thing that I'm seeing now. Also with companies in CE, funnily enough, actually, I've had 3 different companies in CE since the start of this year have this conversation with me. One in Prague, or let's say 2 based in Czech Republic, Slovakia, and then also another one based in Poland. They're all like, oh, we plan to go PLG, but like actually we're sort of shit. Maybe that's not the right way of doing it. You know, like, and as I'm of the thing, if you want to grow quickly and you want to work with enterprise customers, you need to be holding their hand. So like, you know, I don't know how often you're seeing that, but
I have 2 stories. I've been working with a company where CEO was telling me I need to reduce price of a product because our customers are price sensitive who want a cheaper solution. And when I made research and data analysis, I realized that, yeah, there is a huge bulk of customers who want a small price, but they're responsible for 5% of margin.
there you go. Exactly.
And there are a few huge whales, let's go really huge customers, don't care about price. They need a product innovation. And we found at the end a solution how to repackage our product and quickly integrate other product. And we were able to increase price by really triple the price of the product. Yeah, like PLG and freemium is the most popular solution. I've been talking with one startup a week ago, and they were telling me, "What is your pricing strategy?" So our pricing strategy is freemium. Yeah, but it's not a pricing strategy; it's an acquisition strategy.
That's a
Freemium,
business model. That's a business model. That's not a pricing strategy. It's a business model.
sure. It's just a, let's say, lead magnet. It's how you try to attract leads to your product, but it's not a monetization, or it's not connected with revenue. And moreover, he was thinking about also, we are trying to sell it for 50 euro, let's say, a month. Should we go like slower with the price to attract more customers? And when we talked, we realized that people accept prices. Competitors 5, 10, 20 times higher and more expensive prices. So why do you want to sell it so cheap?
Yeah, exactly. And you also get questions raised as well, right? So I'll go to those companies as well that are going into foreign markets outside of CEE, and this is something I've seen myself. I worked with a company called Exponia back in the day, which is now Bloomreach. I was a VP of marketing there, and we were expanding into international markets: the UK, DACH, France, US, right? And one of the things that was being raised around us was trust with the data that customers were giving us. They were asking us, "Hey, where are your servers based? Are they based in Central Eastern Europe?" Right? And we were like, "No, we have local things." And then it was also, we have local things, for example, in Germany, in the US, etc. But then it was about price. It was like, well, why are you so much cheaper? Does that mean like I get a less service than I get from like an American competitor? Because Americas are going to be more expensive. German is also more expensive. So actually, it has a negative almost. And so it was always boiled down to two things: where do you keep our data, and why are you so cheap? What's wrong? Like they're the two things, right?
Exactly.
So
Like, you shouldn't be afraid if you're a founder to be the most expensive.
yeah,
I saw a situation when a Czech company, we made all the project with repackaging, repricing, and they came for competition with several European companies. They were fighting for a really huge enterprise client in France. And I remember calling to a CEO and asking, "So how it went with this French customer?" They told us that we are the most expensive. Okay, but how it
how did
ended
it
up?
go?
Yeah, and he told me they bought it from us, and they bought the most expensive package because we understood what this type of customer want. We integrated another options, benefits, and we're capable to sell it. Yeah.
Exactly. People
So
don't care. It's not about the price. It's about the problem that you solve. And if you can take away a headache from them and add value enough, they won't. The price is just an additional thing. They have a solution. They need it. They need a solution. They have a specific problem. They have an itch to scratch. And if you've got the scratcher to that itch, and you're able to prove it, then price is just as something secondary.
I call it ideally a dream packaging. Ideal packages should cover customer dreams. I'll give you an example. We were talking with customer. We realized that there is one segment of customer who wants just to manage their tools and get as low a price as possible. The second was rational. We want to automate everything. We want to cut costs. And the third one was, let's say, enterprise innovator. We don't care about price. We want the most innovation solution on the market. So what we did, we created three packages. The first named Optimize, who want to just optimize. The second, Automate, who also wanted automate. And the third one, Innovate, who also wanted to be the most innovative. So imagine such a packaging. You don't need to read hundreds of benefits. You don't need to analyze it. Already names of the packaging telling you what kind of solution will you get, what kind of dreams will be solved.
Amazing stuff, man. Look, we could continue talking about this all day, but we're right up on time now, Dima. So I want to say thank you for your time and also ask, where can people find you?
I think LinkedIn or my website, dimamelnik.com.
Cool. We'll make sure that all the details are shared in the description of this episode. Dima, it's been a great pleasure speaking with you, mate. Don't be a stranger. Keep in touch.
Thank you, Andy.
And yeah, thanks, guys. This has been another episode of Growth Path. Tune in again next week for more great content. Thanks, Dima.
Thank you. Bye-bye.